Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Block Theater, and today is a good day because I get to talk Star Wars. Season 7, Episode 2, A Distant Echo, just dropped on Disney Plus, and here it is very early in the morning, and I sat down to give it a watch because it's Star Wars, and I have to see it. Obviously, for the setup, this episode is an exact continuation, or picks up where last week's episode left off, where you've got Rex now having discovered that CT1, I think was 1704, aka Echo, is now alive, or in some form now alive, and he is desperate to get his friend back because he has felt some guilt over leaving him behind to die at the Citadel all those moons ago. And so he and the Bad Batch, along with Anakin, are getting ready to go and find Echo. And in the meantime, Anakin realizes that he's got to go and catch up with Padme. So we get a first look at them. And that was actually a really sweet scene that I liked quite a bit because I've always enjoyed the Anakin Padme relationship from Revenge of the Sith. I know in Attack of the Clones it felt a little bit weird, but I liked how they explored upon it in greater detail with the Clone Wars, and I've always just kind of liked it. I know it's odd to say out loud, but for the last 15 years I've been on board. I've been on board with it, and I like that the show gives us a bit more of that. And obviously you can see that like the distance between the two of them is really there, and they really miss each other. And obviously Padme's got a little bit of a baby bump, not a huge bump, but a little bit of a baby bump, indicating that this is still a ways away from the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. And so what I liked about this scene though was Rex was watching guard, because I like the relationship between Anakin and Rex, and that was actually kind of a central point of the beginning of the episode, and I thought that it was pretty fantastic because Rex is like, we got to go get Echo, and Anakin's like, yo dog, I gotta do this thing. And he's like, what thing? He's like, the thing. And I'm all like, we guys gonna go like rudder each other or something, like what the hell? But basically Rex stands guard while Anakin goes and contacts Padme. This point basically meaning that Rex knows that Padme and Anakin have a thing, and he's keeping it secret because the two of them have a very solid bond and a very strong relationship that we as fans have watched progress over all of these seasons, which is fantastic. And then of course Obi-Wan shows up, and Obi-Wan's like, where's Anakin? And he's like, he's checking some stuff out. It's all good, man. You're fine. You're fine. And then Obi-Wan's like, look, I ain't no fool. I know what's going on. And at the end of that whole thing is like, hope he told Padme I said hello. So clearly at this point, it's not even a secret that everyone knows that they're together, right? Everyone knows that Anakin and Padme are together. I mean, I kind of always really was wondering about that between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Like, is anyone going to figure this out? Like, Anakin kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve, as we saw when he slaughtered all those sand people in Attack of the Clones. But still, it's like someone's going to eventually figure it out. And Obi-Wan is like his older brother, so his older brother would figure it out. I mean, I like that they finally just said it, even though it was, still somewhat subtly implied. And from there, Rex and the Bad Batch, who I'm so glad to spend more time with, and Anakin head off to go and try to find Echo. They ended up getting attacked by some by the native species on the planet. Anakin gets taken. The Bad Batch show up. Rex is like, look, don't kill anyone, just disarm them, which they do. And then Tech is able to have a conversation, which was actually really cool how they did that, by the way. Like, Tech was able to have a conversation with the chief of this village. And we get to see it translate. So the chief talks, and Tech's goggles translate what the chief says in text to Tech, and then Tech is able to then get a response out of it, right? So he's able to, like, so Anakin says, "Hey, tell him I said this," and then it will pop up on the screen, and then Tech reads it back, and it's like, oh, he's like a protocol droid. Right, like you can see 3PO being able to like have a conversation here, but I like that it was Tech, and I like that they showed us the technology that was behind it. I thought that was a very cool little interesting touch. After that, they get led to where the bad guys are that are holding the Separatists that are holding Echo, and they have to try to sneak in quietly. That didn't happen because Rek decides that, the only good droid is a dead droid. So he steps in and he just starts taking a whole bunch of them out, to which case all of them start taking a bunch of them out. And it was a pretty cool scene nonetheless because it gets to show everyone fighting them a little bit. Actually, really, it's the Bad Batch just kicking a whole bunch of droids' asses. But what I thought was interesting was that even though these are not battle droids, there's like a different kind of battle droid, not a super battle droid, but just a different kind of battle droid. They still had the same voices as the other battle droids, which just was a little off-putting, although interesting nonetheless. From there, they split up trying to track down Echo's signal. The only time they can find the signal, though, is when he's transmitting data. And which is interesting, though, is when they find where Echo is at, the bad guy, whose name I forget right now, but he's the one kind of running the operation after Trench had already warned him that they're coming. He gets up there and he says, everything you've done has already been predicted by our algorithm, right? So we already knew what you were going to do. We already knew what was going to happen because you're clone troopers. That's kind of the whole idea of this, is that they're able to get all that information and just use it against the clones, and it's been very effective. And here he's more or less like laughing in their face. And Rex, man, he ain't having none of that. Rex is all like, I'm gonna come get my buddy, or I'm not leaving without him. And I'm pretty sure if this wasn't on Disney Plus, this was like on HBO or something, he'd be dropping some serious hardcore F bombs. And you know what? I would be there for it, because at this point you kind of feel Rex's emotion. And Padme had told Anakin to like to guide him with those emotions, right? Like to not try to judge him for it, even though Rex is being kind of guided by emotion, which is not the Jedi way. He's a clone trooper, but I like that they kind of been subtly showcasing that the clones are more than just like obedient death machines or cannon fodder for the droids, right? There's a lot there that we've got to see as these other clones have gotten older and more experienced and more mature and become their own person, even though they were programmed from one specific function. So I do quite like that quite a bit. Then basically at that point in time, the bad guy's like, look, you were predictable. Sends in a whole bunch of droids. They're going to fight him. All the Bad Batch, Anakin runs in. They all kick their butts. It's pretty simple. Then they get the door open. Tech and Rex run into the room, and they're able to then, there's this like huge ass pod there. It is like, this doesn't look good, because the bad guy had said to Rex, he's all like, your friend is dead. His mind is ours. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, at this point, they just got him like plugged into a computer. Like, it's going to be a horrific scene. This dude's just going to be like, the body's just going to be a husk. It's just going to be twitching. And they're just going to have him like plugged in and jacked up and still alive. But nothing of him is going to be left. Because last week I had said that I kind of felt like a Commander Key situation from Halo, in which case it kind of was, except when they're able to open it up, Echo is tore up as all hell, but Echo is still alive, and he's still conscious, and he's still cognizant. And he's just like, oh, Rex, you came back for me. And Rex, you could tell, was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, man, you're going home. And then that's where the episode ends. So it's a good episode. It's a solid, these episodes go by so quick. And I can't wait to see the conclusion next week, to see what happens with this whole storyline, because I really, really, really like the Bad Batch, and I really like Rex. So I'm really hoping we get a bit more of them. As I was tweeting out during the episode, I'm like, Bad Batch needs their own series on Disney Plus. To which case probably no one's going to agree with me on, but I really enjoyed the Bad Batch nonetheless. And I really like that we got a lot more out of Rex. I like we got to see a bit more of the relationship between Anakin and Rex, and how there is a mutual respect. And you could almost say love. Like, the thing is, man, it's like, I said this before at the end of the last season of the show, end of season 5 for me, not season 6, but season 5, when Ahsoka left the Jedi Order, that's one of the key things that pushed Anakin towards the dark side, right? Like, that kind of thing. With Anakin, it's always about fear and abandonment. So what I want to know is what's going to happen with Rex and Anakin, because they clearly have a strong bond. And I really hope they don't just kind of like overlook that particular aspect of it and focus more on the whole, and Anakin Obi-Wan, Anakin Padme, Anakin Ahsoka. I mean, granted, that whole trifecta towards Anakin makes a fair amount of sense, but I don't think they should discount Rex or Cody, because they've been there like from the beginning, and we're spending a lot of time with them. That being said, it's another solid episode. I think the only real downside is the animation looks a little bit off in my mind. The animation it doesn't look as good as it did before. I noticed this last week too, is a little bit off. It's not the same animations. It looks like it went to like a different animation company. They're trying to mimic what happened before. But it also kind of looks like they took a little bit of like the cell shading from Resistance and they added it in there. It just takes a little bit of you getting used to, but at the same time, the voice acting is top. I love seeing these characters back. I love that they are back, and we got 10 episodes left, and I'm just kind of like, damn it. like damn it, because it's clearly it's going to be really good and it's going to be really telling. And I know that this episode, a lot of this episode apparently was already out there in some form of like early animatic that went out. I had never seen it, so this was all new to me. And apparently they cut out a part of it where Padme had like some sexy Padme pinup art or something like that on the ship, and Disney cut that apparently. And the thing is with that too, I have noticed that the original Clone Wars show was very sexualized on some of the people there, right? Like the women were all curvy. I forget the no one Twi'lek Jedi, but she's always got her navel showing, and it's very well formed. And it's like I was kind of like, damn, yeah. So yeah, Disney maybe did cut a little bit down on that, and then to be frank, I don't blame them. It's a kids program. But at the same time, it's still good storytelling, which is exactly why I like it. So, your thoughts, your opinions, your theories for what's coming next, I want to hear them. If you guys want to do like maybe more of a breakdown on the episode, let me know. I could dive into that later on today. And I'll talk to you guys all later. Have yourself a great day. May the force be with you. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell, all that stuff, and peace out.